before we start
I
going.
said, okay.
And once we in, we in. You ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go.
One time for the one time. It's the family blood.
What is good, good people? It's Jay Glass to Movement back with another very special platinum series edition. Yes, where we got. Actually, I was going to do this, but I will allow you to do this yourself. I don't want to step on your shine. So, with all due, yeah, for real. Like with all due respect, like let's introduce you.
Hi guys. I am Monay Sha'Reece, singer, songwriter. I do a little bit of producing. Um, I'm honored to be here. Uh, and just hi everybody. You can follow my IG. My IG is Monay Sha'Reece, the artist. Music is what I do, from poetry to songwriting to singing, a little bit of rapping. I'm a little across the board with it, but I'm honored to be here. Hey y'all.
You get rounds of applause again. We're gonna give you rounds of applause again. Welcome on, welcome on. Absolutely excited to have you. And so, just a little bit of background for everybody that's going to be watching. Uh, we were able to run into each other to meet at a Circle Audio shootout, mic shootout,
Yes.
and my buddy Keith, hosted by Keith Ross and his elaborate Circle Audio crew at
Yes.
101 Studios out in LA, which is hey that studio is daggone fantastic. I'm gonna throw that
Yeah,
out.
that drawing was nice.
Yeah, I, I wasn't expecting it, and it blew me away. And yeah, so shout out to 101 Audio, shout out to 101 Audio, shout out to 101 Studio, shout out to Circle Audio
That's
as
right.
well. Um,
Yes.
yeah, but we were able to run into each other, and I owe you an apology, I believe. Yeah,
Do
'cause-
you?
yes, I do. I think you were already singing, and I was doing an interview in one of the adjoining rooms, and when I
Gotcha.
yeah, I laugh loud, and I get it honest, right? When I laugh, I laugh. It's a deep stomach laugh. So I was laughing, and I think hopefully I didn't step on what you were doing, but if I did, my apologies, sis. I didn't mean to.
You're good. I didn't even know that. So,
Yeah,
I was just in the zone, having fun, jumping from mic to mic. It was dope.
yeah. So with that being said, um, where are you from? And we'll go back through the singer songwriter rapper thing because I was listening to your music and I was absolutely floored by your amazing voice. First off,
Thank
the
you.
fact that you're a lyricist. Second off, um, and just your overall demeanor. Like you're an absolutely great person to meet, run into, and talk to in person. I was happy to run into you at the actual convention floor at NAM, but we'll come back to that at another time. So,
Right.
but back to the question: where are you from, and how did you get into music? How did you start doing what you do now?
So I was born in Clovis, California. I grew up in Sacramento, and then I spent 10 years in Georgia. So we lived in Atlanta for about 10 years. Most of my childhood was relatively in Georgia, like Lithonia, Atlanta, Decatur area.
All
My
right.
mom actually attended Clark, so we were there for a lot of the time. And then I kind of came back to California, and the first place I went was SAC, and ended up going to college in Sacramento. So yeah, I love being in the Bay Area and LA. Those are like my hot spots, my relaxed spots, and most of the time where I'm performing at in California is usually either in LA or like towards the Bay Area type of thing. Yeah.
And so you're in California now, right?
Yes.
And how long have you been back? Or better question is, how long have you been in the area that you are now?
So I've been in this area for about 6, 7 years now.
Oh
Yep,
wow.
back in California.
Okay,
I have
so
visited Atlanta and Texas, but I haven't moved back there. Not just yet.
okay. Do you think that in the future you might move back, or are you satisfied with where you are?
I feel like there's no place like California, just as far as like your hiking trails, your beaches. I love bodies of water. Atlanta is dope though too because it's a different feel among uh ethnicities and people of color. It's a different feel. It's more of a we're in this together family type of thing. Whereas California, it was a little different for me to get adjusted when I got here. I was like, okay, people aren't as friendly. Maybe I should stop talking to everybody. But the scenery, I don't know. You can't. I don't know. California is kind of winning with the beaches. It's like a beach every way. I love to hike, so I find that there's a lot of things to do. So I don't know. It's looking real back and forth-ish, but heavy on California.
So even if you weigh like the economics of it all, it's California still gonna win it out, or
Well, definitely not. No, as far as that, you're definitely winning. Your homes are bigger for the same price. You definitely get more for your money in the South and in Georgia for sure. Um, California is expensive,
yeah,
but it's expensive because it's so much dope scenery. I mean, in any way you go, it's something to do. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So, but I love Atlanta, and that'll always have a dear place in my heart. I love to be in Georgia as well. There's a lot of hiking trails. It's just not as many bodies of water, but I still love to be there.
Okay, yeah. I lived in California for about 9 years, and I was in the Bay Area, and then I ended up down in the Central Coast area, as it were, out by the Greenfield area. And I will agree with you 100%. Like as far as beautiful scenery, wonderful hiking trails, breathtaking views, like
Sure.
it's hard to beat. And I've been to almost every state in America. Um, I think some of the states that might rival, of course, are on the West Coast. But when I went to up to Massachusetts, no, when I went up to Maine, when I went up to Maine and looked out, had some of their views, it was beautiful, but it was horribly cold, so I didn't
Right.
want to. That was a huge difference. That was a
Right.
small back. So let me ask you the music scene between the two areas, right? Because I'm guessing that you've done music in both areas, in both California as well as that in the Atlanta area. What is that like, and what are the differences? If you want to touch on that and highlight that a little bit.
I would say the South is more, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. You know, somebody else may not agree, but in my opinion, neo soul and soulful music and jazz is more appreciated in
Mm,
Atlanta, whereas California has this undertone of things. You know, they want more faster music. They want like something to party to, club music, and like I don't feel like there are enough spaces for like just a nice good old jam session or like neo
mm,
soul vibe outs. You have a lot of those type of events in the South. You know, where you're Common and Erica Badu, all of these great artists with that same jazz neo soul vibe. They'll be in one place. They encourage and push each other on. I feel like California is more of your mecca, especially in the Bay in LA. It's more of your mecca for like parties and clubbing. So you're gonna want to have music that leans toward a younger crowd and more people that are looking to party.
okay,
Whereas like just on some soulful, vibey stuff, you flow differently in Atlanta.
I see. I see. And this isn't me asking you to choose one over the other, but as far as a I had to
I feel
preface it.
like that's what you're trying to get at, but you
No, no,
know.
not at all. Not at all. Not at all. It says which one feels better for your style. And we'll talk about your style in a second because I think the question will make sense to a lot of the listeners once we get there. But since I'm familiar with you and your music, which one feels better for you? Because you can do both,
I
honestly.
like both. I like both. I would say it has to be I like intimate crowds and older setting crowds in California. So like Yoshi's is a really good place that I like to
Yeah, yeah,
perform
yeah.
at in
Very
Oakland.
familiar with
The
Yoshi's.
vibe there, it kind of reminds you of being in the South. So it's not that just, because I rap and stuff too. So I would say I'm a little musically bipolar because I can kind of tether anywhere
Yeah,
depending. Um, but I mean, you can find an intimate crowd in California as well. But I would probably say Atlanta would be more of a flow for like my neo soul and like my just everyday vibe. And then when you throw some rap in, that's great. But I don't know. It's kind of a tie, but I would say probably Atlanta for that jazz neo soul
Yeah.
vibe.
Okay. Yeah, there's a couple of places I'm familiar with Yoshi's, and I stayed not too far away from San Jose when I stayed in California. And there was a spot I used to go to, and I can't remember the name of it, but I got a buddy that sings. Well, he and his band are out there, Jonah, and
Okay.
I would sing with them every now and again. And it's a dope lounge. I absolutely appreciated it because that was my first experience at it, and I just couldn't give it up. But I do like the I do it's all right. I do like the actual um lounge like R&B, hip hop, laid back, just chill out type of live music vibe.
Right.
So
Yep.
yeah,
And I mean, I've had the pleasure and honor of working with some, this last year or two, I have, had the pleasure of working with some amazing live artists like one of my guitarists, Bobby Griffin. He's amazing, and like I had the honor of singing with the band for the last 2 years in California. So that really sparked me again. Shout out to Keisha, impromptu band. But it was nice because that was probably the most of the live music feel, like the jazz in the park feel that Atlanta has, Essence
mm,
Festival, and all that stuff. That was probably kind of like the closest I've got to that feel since I've been in California. So, I'm learning that it doesn't really matter where you are. It's all about finding your people wherever you are. Um, because if you navigate to the right people, I mean, there's a little group for everybody everywhere. There's some people that like only rap. There's some people that like jazz. There's some people that like whatever. So it's just finding your people.
yeah, for sure. So let's get into a little bit more of the music with you. First off, sis, you tied it up.
A little bit, a little bit, a little
Yeah,
bit,
that's super
just a
dope. And
little.
I was like, oh, she is tied it up for sure, for sure. Okay, that's what's
Yeah,
happening. That's dope. So
yeah,
let's get into the music because you do have a very interesting hybrid of like a neo soul R&B and then a rap type of thing. Um,
right.
you're a lyricist, right?
Yes.
And so first off, when did you get into music? How did you develop your style? And what is it what's your expression? How did you get that expression for your style?
Okay, so I grew up in church. My granny had me singing in church since I was like 3, 4 years old. So at a very young age, I was singing at weddings. Specifically in Atlanta was where I was singing at a lot of weddings. We used to have to rehearse, and like my mom would pick the hardest songs. Like I'm like, okay, I'm 10. Why do I have to learn Kelly Price? Like that's not somebody easy to cover.
Right.
So I would say like us listening to gospel, because the gospel singers were not the same caliber as your people on the radio for me growing up. Like you got the Clark sisters,
Clark
you know
sisters. I
what I'm
knew,
saying?
yes, yes,
And
yes.
Boss. So the kind
Yeah,
of stuff that I grew up listening to, it was like, it was like
yeah.
it was kind of up there. So just,
John P.
just,
Key and Shirley Caesar, they the blowers.
yeah, for
Yeah,
real. So CC and BB. I listen to a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
gospel. So I would say my granny probably had the most influence. Having me go to church. Her first thing was making me sing for the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So that was first. And then I was in a lot of poetry contests, and I loved literature and English. Um, so I loved to write. I was in a whole bunch of poetry contests from like first grade on up because I just love to write. So then when I figured out how to combine, like, well, you can write for yourself. And I was
Mhm.
already making up songs by 10, 11 years old. And, into my teens, I started to like put songs together and write for other people. And I was like, okay, that came out nice. Even if it's something I wouldn't say for myself, I can make it dope for somebody else to say. And I kind of just mixed in the poetry with my actual voice, depending on the song and depending on the type of beat. the beat will pretty much let me know, hey, should I rap on this or should I sing or what kind of texture should I use? It's pretty much just based on however the beat makes me feel.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I even when I write it, one of the things that I was talking to another brother that I met out there, he was asking, so what is it? How do I write? Uh, what space do I get in? And I told him the music will tell me what it wants to say. So
I agree.
yeah, that's my
And it's
initial
funny how you can have multiple artists in a room and it's really dope because you can hear the same beat. And the first thing that you guys hear and come up with will be like two different worlds. Like, damn, that's what you got from that beat.
right.
I got something totally different. But it's a creator thing. Like, I feel like even in the songwriting world, there are a lot of ways that people set up to write. There's different styles of writing, and there's like the industry style of writing, but there's still some people that didn't really follow a style of how to write, and they kind of just wrote off of what they felt, and those songs were still felt too. So I don't really feel like there's a particular way I write. It depends on the beat. And I don't think I have a particular genre. It depends on how I feel and if the music that I'm being presented or listening to, how it touches me. Because I can go from country to rap to R&B. It just depends because I feel like genres kind of limit you
Sure.
by saying, "Oh, I'm in this genre." Now you feel like everything you have to do has to fit in that box, and I don't like to be put in a box. So I would say I songwrite differently according to the actual beat and what the beat's telling me. Sometimes I might write a song with no hook. Sometimes I might start the song off with a hook. Sometimes it might be two verses, or it could be just one long verse with a hook at the end. It depends how it makes you feel.
Yeah,
I'm a huge off of feeling person.
that's great. I love it. And so when you're writing, are you writing from your direct experience? So some writers I've come in contact with and I've come across, um, their method of writing is that no, you're fine, sis. Their method of writing is actually having to be in a new relationship or something inspiring from a child or a close relationship of a loved one or um, be angry or just some of those things. So I don't I don't. The question that I have is that essentially your method or
I would say I feel like writing when you are emotional, you get really good stuff. But also, as a writer, you have to be able to put yourself in another world and be somebody that you're not.
mm,
Because if you can only write based on emotion, that is how I feel like how some people like have an amazing album and then like you get another album and it's not quite the same feel because you don't want to only be able to write off emotion. Sometimes you got to pretend you're somebody else and put yourself in another world and write from another perspective. And that's how you get really good at writing for other artists. Because if I only write about when I'm angry or when I'm sad, it's going to be tough having somebody else body that emotion because that's my personal emotion. So it kind of depends on what you're writing for, I would say. Because when I'm doing stuff for other people, I try to put my headspace in. It's almost like you're being an actor. You want to get to know the role that you're portraying. You want to learn about that person's life for real, kind of see what path they're on, where they're trying to go with the script. And so you
mm,
kind of would do that same thing as far as writing a song. Um, but when you write emotionally, it definitely does connect.
yeah,
But I also could write something that I could write stuff that I probably would never do. And you'd be like, what? And I'm like, yeah, you know, that's not really me, but it sounded really good on the track.
yeah. So how many? I don't want to call it ghostwriting because I don't. I'm not. That's not the term I'm looking for right now. But how many songs have you written for other artists? Not a definitive number, but roughly
Right. I would
roundabout.
say for people that you probably heard of, I would say at least 10 to 15. And like I've worked with a lot of local artists a lot, like just kind of writing them out. I've made songs with the beat included and like basically a vocal to follow, take my vocal off and have sold it to artists and had them, cover it. So I've done quite a bit of ghostwriting. I'm still hoping to get to another level and do a lot more. But like artists bigger than me, I'd say probably like 10. And then like a lot of artists that are local artists, I probably have lost count because it's just me sitting in sessions, artist development. They
Hmm.
can't, it's like the rhythm. Some people have a tough time coming up with rhythms. So like I can give a rhythm and give words. So I would say like a lot of local artists. And I'd say probably about ten bigger artists that people have heard of.
All right. Well, there is no artist bigger than you. Your space is on the same plane as every other artist. All of our artists subjectively perfect. So nobody's greater than you. I just wanted to say that. And plus, again, I've heard you sing real life, and you're absolutely amazing. So
Thank you. I appreciate
yeah,
it.
I just wanted to throw that out there.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're absolutely welcome. So, as far as instruments or producing and engineering, do you do that part of music as well?
So I really wish I would have paid more attention. My granny was trying to make me play the piano, and I was like, I don't want to. I just want to sing. And now I wish I would have played the piano. So I am actually interested in looking into learning how to play the guitar. So that'll be my next little thing that I'm intertwining in. As far as live instruments, I don't really play instruments. Um, but production as far as like making beats,
Hmm.
I've made beats and did music on top of beats that I've made. I want to get a little more intricate, like, not having to use loops so much. I kind of like using like sounds and loops, and I kind of play off of that. And I've like made beats with my actual vocals and turned it into a beat.
Yeah,
So I'm getting stronger on the production side, because as a creator and as an artist, you have a lot of these moments where, like what happened to me last night, 2 o'clock in the morning. It's like, ah, I gotta record this right now.
yes,
I'm
yeah,
over here writing it down out of my sleep. And I'm like, damn, I need to record it. So I am totally in the process of getting everything on my computer and getting everything to where I can actually just record and do everything myself instead of
mm,
having, for those moments where you don't have other people, it's
yeah,
good to learn. And so, being around other women that are in production and engineering, especially at NAM, that was super
yeah.
amazing for me. Like, like Lanice Ben, it was like so many people that I was running into, and I was like, oh my
Hmm.
God, I just love this because it lets you know that you can do it because you limit yourself by your thinking. So
Yeah,
I will be coming harder with the production side and the engineering side, for sure, for my own projects, and hopefully eventually I'll get to doing more production for other artists as well.
yeah, that's awesome, and I can't wait for that to happen. I can't wait till you hit that point of realization, and then you set new goals and you go far, you go
Yeah.
further rather. Because yeah, so
Yes.
I feel that I'm my buddy. So if you want to learn how to play the guitar, I got a guy.
Okay.
I got a
Okay.
guy. So I'll shoot him your information. He's in California also. Uh,
Okay.
he was actually with me out at the shootout. He's the guy that laid the guitar tracks for Keith.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So
Nice.
shout out to ECAS the pro Manny Lugo. Absolutely. But
Okay.
yes, I'll definitely shoot him your information and vice versa because he's amazing.
Okay.
Absolutely amazing. But yeah, pushing that further because he's also helping me figure out how to use different softwares, essentially Studio One, so that I can begin to travel down the same path that you're going. Because I felt that when you said 2 o'clock in the morning, you had something going on and you wanted to just, wait a minute, let me get this.
Right. It's like I
Yeah,
want to do this now.
yeah, yeah. It happened to me last night. I got a little bit too lazy to get out the bed, but I finally had
Right.
the capabilities. I have the capability to actually do it. And next time I'm gonna move on that and I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna get it.
Nice.
So let's
Yeah,
talk
because
about
it's like sometimes
yeah,
if you don't get it jotted out and like get that recording right there, you can't quite remember exactly how you did it to get
yes,
that feel. And then I'm
yeah,
like, damn it, I should have did it when it was
yeah,
on the tip of my tongue. Like I can't get the feel now. So I've
yeah,
learned.
And
voice memo is your friend. For artists,
yes,
voice memo is your friend.
yeah, you're trying to recreate the situation that got you into that little groove, that little spot, and is or if it was in a dream and it came to you and you didn't hop up and do it. Yeah, I feel all that.
Right.
I feel all of that. So let's talk about now. Who did you attend? What is was that your first one going?
So yes, so shout out to my aunt Hotep. You
Yeah,
know, that
yeah.
is my mentor right now. So basically, he pretty much bring me. I was sponsored by Oxenberger Speakers, so they were able to sponsor me, got me in them. Big shout out to my, because without him making that connection, I would not have been able to do that as smoothly. And it was nice having a personal introduction with all of those amazing people that now know me by name and are like, yeah,
Mm,
here's my number. Here's my, those are things and experiences that are priceless. And it was an honor to get so much love and be looked at as a peer. So now I'm like a peer. And I really appreciate that. And I felt like, honestly, that's where I needed to be. And I felt like I blended right in. And I feel like, you know, everything's an experience. I've been through some things and I wasn't in the right rooms. And from this point on, I know that I'll be in the correct rooms, and just the amount of support that was in each room was unfamiliar, and I'm grateful. You know what I'm saying? I'm totally grateful and ecstatic about the journey, and I know that there's so much work to do.
yeah.
So I'm glad to have that experience. So yeah, Nam, my aunt got me in there. We were at the after party for Nam. I
Oh
performed. I performed at that. Sang on
no,
the
I missed it.
microphones there. Pre Grammys performed at that. Shout out again, and it was just like, just from there, it's been a lot of connections and a lot of opportunities that have been presenting themselves from there, just by having the honor of singing on so many microphones.
Mm,
Then, the microphone that I liked and really loved, the company ended up sending that microphone out. So
mm,
it was just like a really dope experience, because I got to help their mic shine, and then they're now able to help me shine. And that was just dope. And just talking to different people that were like, you're dope. You need to continue going. Like, I don't know why you're not going as hard as you need to go, but here's from here, you need to go a lot harder because you're dope. And sometimes you just, we're people, we're humans, and sometimes you need to hear that. And it really helped me. You know what I'm
mm.
saying? And I'm hecka appreciative of it for sure.
Yeah. So that was my second nom that I had gone to, and what I've started to figure out is a lot of musicians who are actually serious about the art, consistently showing up to
Yep.
that event. And it's a motivator, it's a recharger, and it pushes you. It's enough to carry you throughout the year. You establish great connections. You're able to talk to a lot of new people, so it helps
Yep.
you continue to push forward. As soon as you think you've forgotten something, it's like, oh yeah, I spoke to such and such. Let me reach out
Right.
and see what they got going on, and maybe spark up a conversation and try to
Right.
come up with something real fast.
And it
That's
was like, it was dope already. Like, a lot of people from that event are like, hey, I need you to write for this person, or hey, I need you to get
yeah.
on a song. And I'm like, well, that's happening very fast. So it was just dope. Like, from the tutorial to the seminars to the lunches and the dinners, to be able to just sit among some of those people and be able to share my voice, it was amazing. I had a ball. I had a
Yeah.
ball.
So what was one of your favorite events at Nam? I know there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. So for
Ooh,
those who have never
I
been to
want
Nam,
to say, like, one of my favorite things was playing with the AI.
yes,
So
Ye-
I was able to record my voice saying one line and then type in a whole 8 bars of a song and play it back, and it's myself singing those words. So that was crazy to me. And I was like,
yes,
whoa, this is dope. And then getting to meet Jean Marie. That
Oh,
was amazing. And being able to play my music and they actually sat and listened to my songs on the Augsburger
mm,
speakers, that had to have been like my favorite part.
of course.
So, and then like all the microphones that I got to play with, it was I can't really, it wasn't really, it was just dope the whole time, kind of.
Yeah, it can be almost overwhelming in some aspects because, like you said, once you hit Nam, and if you're actually engaged and then you're talking to people, stuff takes off really, really fast. It's almost to the point to where you don't feel like you're ready for it, right? But you got to keep pushing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
I
on an
would
equal playing
say
field.
I would say a highlight for me was walking around and like there was a gentleman who I wouldn't have thought would even like know me or listen to my music. And he was kind of following me, and he was like, and I was like, okay, he probably thinks I'm somebody else. A lot of people were mistaking me for Jill Scott,
Jill Scott. Yeah, I can
bro.
see
Like 5 people came up to me. I was like, no, I'm not Jill.
yeah, I can see that.
um, and he was like, and then he walks up to me for like the third time. He's like, oh, I know who you are. You don't know who I am, but I know who you are. And he had my whole album pulled up on his phone,
Oh wow.
and he lives in New York.
Oh
And
wow.
he was like, yeah, I listen to your music and I just wanted you to know, like, never stop doing what you're doing. Like, your music is really good. Like, you're even touching. He was like sitting at a pub or something, and my song came on, and I was like, I
Hmm.
wouldn't even knew, So I thought that was amazing, being that I've never been to New York and people know me in New York based on my music. That was really a highlight moment for me. Like, humbly, that was really cool for me.
I love that for you. Goodness gracious, I love that. And the best part about it is it's going to go even further. And the hope is when this is released, that your music will end up even more places. I know my sister's going to watch it, and my sister stays in Japan. So
Nice.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah.
shout out to your sister because we gotta talk.
Right.
We
Yes,
gotta
sir.
talk.
Yeah, actually, like we talked about that because you're going to Japan, right?
Yes, I will
April.
be going with my mom in April.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yes.
yeah, definitely, definitely. So I was talking to her this morning. She's a few hours ahead of me on 24, 12 to 24. Anyway, whatever the case, we were talking. And so, yeah, I'm glad I said that. And I'm glad you reminded me. That way I can definitely link you. There's
Yes.
people that I hope that you have time to run into when you get out to Japan. There's a place called the Soul Food Restaurant. That's run by,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, run by a lovely, lovely couple, and the food is spectacular. But anyway, we'll talk about that. That's another.
We gotta,
Yeah, because I get
yeah,
into
because
it. I
I'm
love
going to
Japan.
those museums too. Yep.
Oh yes, yes, you must, you must. So let's talk about your performance. Your performances, like, because I was supposed to go to the after party, the non after party, but I had to fly out early the next morning, so I forfeited going. And now
Right.
that I know that you performed, I feel foolish. I should have been there.
Ah! It'll
I
be
feel,
another time.
I know, right?
Um,
So let's talk about that performance, and then let's talk about your pre-Grammy performance also.
that performance was like I did like a mixture of like an outside, just live, no instrument, acapella type of thing. And then we also did like an in studio performance where I was actually in the studio on the microphone and I did a couple covers that were just acapella and it was with the microphone. So the company sent the microphone that I actually picked, which was the Saturn, amazing microphone.
Wow.
And so it was there at the session for me to use. And it sounded like tracks that could have been released on acapella. It sounded really
Mm.
good on that mic. And I had the honor of singing amongst a whole bunch of other artists that were kind of in there as well. And then I was able to I kind of did like a live cover of my own song, Late Night. And I just kind of played the beat and then did a run through of that live. So it was dope. And you had the studio, they shouted me out from that, and people had made clips that I did not know, I wasn't aware of, but it was a dope opportunity. And, I'm not even sure who all was in that room, but I'm willing to bet it was a lot of amazing people in that room, and a lot of people at that event, and a couple of people from Rhythm and Flow season 2 were
Mm.
there, and a couple of people from The Voice UK were there. So it was just amazing, and like I'm very very humble, so like I was like I came out and everybody was like stopped in a standing ovation. So I was like, for me, like so it
I
was
love
really
it.
cool. I really had fun, and so it was cool. And I got to meet a lot of other artists, and we kind of followed each other and networked, and yeah, it was dope in studio and like a little outside little performance. Yeah.
Yeah. So the pre-Grammy?
So the pre-Grammy,
Yeah.
this was a situation where I was not essentially supposed to go. I had just kind of got looped in. What happened was there was an artist that put out a song with Kaya from the Pussycat Dolls and Monifa. Long story short, the day comes to perform it because he actually was a recipient of an award for best rap pop collaboration.
Mm.
But both of these young ladies were sick. So I had 24 hours to learn the song. His name is Etc. He's an artist. I had 24 hours to learn the song, get back down to LA, do an in-person training, and then be at mic check by the next day, 12 o'clock. And so I was able to, I was like able to do that, and it was a dope event. And then I ended up singing at another pre-Grammy party, just happening to just be there. And they were like, "Yeah, put your song on," and I was like, "Okay, this is amazing." So just being in the right rooms, so
Hey,
it was just a opportunity that came last minute, and it was like, hey, you got 24 hours. You can say yes or you can say no, and I chose to take it on, and it came out dope.
yeah, why not? Why not try it at the very
Yep.
least? Give yourself that space, that grace, and that mercy. Go chase it for yourself. Why not?
Okay.
So
Right.
so a question that I have for you, and I ask just about everybody this is what's the motivation for your passion behind the art and behind the artist? What is it? What's the thing or the things that keeps you pushing? Right? What's that spark? What is that the thing that you hold close, you won't let go, that you know that you got to keep doing this? What's your motivation for that?
For me, it's multiple reasons. I actually have them tattooed on me. The answer to that question, because music is my escape. Music is my first love. Music is my therapy. If you're feeling down, there's certain songs that help you get through things, whether you happy, sad, angry, whatever. I feel like music is a universal language. No
Mm,
matter what culture, no matter where you are, what language you speak, it's sometimes that I listen to music that I don't even understand, but I know how it makes me feel. And music is very dear to me because music has helped me celebrate a lot of my high moments, but it's also got me through some of my worst moments. And I feel like I would be I would be really sad if I didn't do music, because that is my art. That is my self-expression. And you find that when God gives you a gift and you're not sharing it, and you're wondering why you're anxious and you're depressed and why you feel down, it's because you have a gift that you're not sharing with people, and you know you should be sharing it. So I just feel like that's my gift to people. Um I won't say it's a ministry, but it can be. You know what I'm saying? There's certain people that I've sang a song for and they broke down and cried, like, damn, I needed that right now.
mm,
Like, I sing at a lot of funerals, I sing at a lot of events where people need hope. So I just feel like I'd be letting myself down and not being true to what makes my heart feel full and what makes my soul feel full if I didn't do music.
mm. I love that. That's a great answer. That's a fantastic answer.
And it's
So
so true. Like I get really emotional
yeah.
about music, and I took a long break, because I had a child and he's now 7. And I just found that it was like, no, you got to get back to doing what you love. It's very key, because your body and your soul and your spirit can tell when you're not doing what you know you could and should be doing. And
Mm.
so it's definitely my escape. Like I said, it's got me through like celebratory moments. Like I need this song. It's so many artists that I listen to that I can't wait to meet in person to let them know how their song has got me through some shit, you know. And there's, some music that you put on, when you want to celebrate. But I feel like music is key in every culture, language. People all come together over music because it's what it makes you feel.
Yeah, I agree 100%. You mentioned hopefully meeting some of the artists that you look up to. Who are some of the artists that have inspired your journey thus far?
Definitely Lauryn Hill.
Okay.
She's really, really up there. Who else? Excuse me. Who else? I love Jasmine Sullivan. That's probably one of my favorite artists. To me, she's really underrated
Yeah.
because vocally, I don't see a lot of people touching her. That's just my opinion. Um, Kelly Price, Stevie Wonder.
Yes. I, Stevie is my guy. Stevie is absolutely my guy. Like I love Stevie Wonder. Love Stevie Wonder.
Right.
And you said Kelly.
Legendary.
Yeah. Did you see him when he was there?
I did see him, but I didn't get to I didn't
Yeah.
get to get close like I
Yeah.
wanted to. I didn't get to sing for Stevie.
Right. Right.
Not the way I wanted to. I needed a whole moment for a whole song, not just a
Yeah.
little, that's Stevie Wonder. You got to make him remember you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's awesome. And so what advice would you have for any artist that's pushing and pursuing with a passion to be a musician, to be a singer, to be a songwriter, producer, engineer? What advice would you have for them?
No cookie cutter mentality, please.
Hmm.
It's enough people who sound the same. And it's always just remember that a lot of the people who we love now, a lot of people told them no. A lot of people were like, I don't like that. I don't like how it sounds because I want it to sound like this. And those people are freaking great now. So never change who you are. Be authentic because it's going to show. Your authenticity is going to be felt versus trying to do something because other people want you to do it. Never let that be what drives your creation because it may help you win for a little bit, but long term it's not because it's not who you are.
Hmm. That's great. That's great. All right. And so every segment that we do on our podcast, even when we're doing our live podcasts, we have a segment called Final Thoughts, right? And Final Thoughts is a portion where you can do or say whatever you can say whatever you want to, speak about anything you want to, but it would be your final thought for this particular segment. So, moving into final thoughts, what is your final thought?
My final thought is stay tuned. I got a lot of work that I'm doing. I got music on the way. I'll be posting a lot more content, a lot more covers. It's just beginning for 2025. I actually have a song that I'm wrapping up. It's a mixture of rap and singing. And, just shouting out to like everybody that supports me, whether you've been supporting me, whether you just came along and started to support me. I'm super appreciative. I want to say thank you to everybody. My aunt, I definitely want to shout him out. He is a big factor in helping me take these first steps. And Augsburger speakers, my NAM peers, all the people who have been uplifting me, my best friend, Morgan, and then, my grandparents, like my family, because, without them, none of this is possible for sure.
That's great. All right. And just I know we've been pushing it on the ticker, but tell everybody where they can find your music. Tell
Yes,
the platforms that you're on.
I have music on Apple Music, Spotify. I have some things on YouTube. Heavy on Apple Music, Spotify. I think I have some stuff on Pandora, Tidal. Yeah, if you Google Monay Sha'Reece, a lot of stuff will pop up, you know. And for sure, follow me on IG at Monay Sha'Reece the artist, which is where most of my stuff is.
Okay, perfect. Well, I definitely thank you for your time, and I look forward to hopefully doing more interviews with you, either face to face at NAM, the next NAM, or any other events that we find ourselves at. Uh,
Absolutely.
and I want to follow your journey and make sure we celebrate you as you continue to push forward and get over all the milestones, and you keep crushing different venues. I am looking forward to it, and
Thank you. I'm excited.
yeah, we're here to support you, sis. That's for sure.
Thank
That's
you.
for
I
sure.
appreciate it.
So, with that being said, as I say every night, for those of you all who are going to be watching, you could have been anywhere else in the world, but you decided to stop and listen and hang out with us, and we greatly appreciate that. With that being
Yes.
said, thank y'all for coming out. God bless and good night.